So, today's lesson is going to cover a very, very basic fill that deals with two different note values. If you're just starting playing the drums, it's possible that all of your fills consists of playing semiquavers fast and moving around the toms, because I think that's where we all start out. So you start out on the snare, move to the first tom, move to the second tom, move to the floor tom, and you have to hit the crash at the end of that because that's the coolest bit. All right, so that could be your fill. It could be your go-to fill, and you play every single song using a straight rock beat, and you play every single fill using semiquavers around the kit. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's great. It sounds lovely, but if you're doing the same thing all the time, it gets a little bit stale. So let's give you another fill to do with two different rhythmic values. Now, what I'm going to show you is my version of this. What you're going to work on after you get that down is your version of this. You're going to do your own makeup of this. You're going to create, because drumming is about creating. That's the thing about drumming. If you start playing the drums, you get shown the basics, and then, like the artists that you are, you go and create your own version of it. There's so many different versions of right when it comes to drumming. So do not think that what I'm about to show you is the way to do it. It is a way to do it. That's very important. I want you to come up with your own, because that is how you become a musician and not just someone who plays something. Okay, so the fill I'm going to do, very, very basic, is going to use crotchets and quavers. Now, if you've watched an earlier lesson that I did on note values, you're going to know that crotchets are whole notes and quavers are half notes. Okay, so to play a full fill of whole notes will be very, very straight. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're not going to do all one note type. We're going to use quavers as well, which are 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And mixing those up, what I'm going to do is a crotchet on 1 on the snare, a crotchet on 2 on the first rack tom, 2 quavers on the snare on 3 and then a crotchet on 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. That is a nice slow way of counting it and playing it, but you got to practice it slow before you can get it right. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so once you're able to play the fill, you then want to play a rock beat before it. So play 3 bars of standard rock beat and then do the fill. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. That's good. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Here's your fill. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's talk about variations of this. How can we change it? Well, we're playing in what I call an L-shaped pattern. We're going from the snare to the rack tom, back to the snare, and back to the floor. So you can see why I call it an L-shaped pattern. It stays in an L shape, okay? So you can do that, or you can vary up from that. You can start on the rack tom, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. You can start on the floor tom, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. You can use the second rack tom. Some drum kits don't have that, I understand that, and that's why the L-shaped pattern works so well. Some do, so let's use it if it's there. 1, 2, 3 and 4. All of these variations can be used, and all of them are just as correct as each other. The only problem you're going to have is if you don't practice this enough, you will go out of time, because when you do something you haven't practiced enough, you're not as comfortable, and that's when the mistakes will happen, especially if someone's watching. When you're under a little bit of pressure, that's when the mistakes will happen. When you're practicing alone at home on your drum kit, the mistakes won't happen as easily as when you invite your friend in and say, hey, look at this new thing I'm working on. The fact of the matter is, if it's new and you're still working on it, you really shouldn't be performing it for people. Stuff that you perform, it's stuff you've got down. You're comfortable with it. The stuff you're practicing, that's for you. Until you've got it down, you don't perform it for people. Because if you put yourself under that much pressure with brand new material, you're going to make mistakes. So just show them the stuff you've got down and you'll impress everyone. Okay, so let's have a listen to that fill at a little faster tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Here's your fill. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 these variations work. Whatever you want to do, as long as you stay in time, it's correct. I hope this lesson helps. If you're one of those drummers that always played the same fill over and over again, remember, on the third or fourth play, people start to recognize that's all he or she is doing. So you got to make sure that you're able to vary it up a little bit. And remember, fills are an accent. They're not to be played every single bar. So make sure that you play them sparingly, keep them special. I hope that all made sense. If you have any questions, pop them in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.